Hey, hello everyone who's watching this. Thanks a lot. And really happy to have our third episode of Dev's Wall. And today we have a really special guest. He has 15 years of experience in the technology area, mostly with .NET technologies and more focused on backend side. And he has so much experience with several consultant companies and much more than that. So I'm really glad to have with us Javier Rivera. How's it going, man?
Thank you. Very well. How are you, man?
Not bad. Here. How's it going? Is the weather getting a little bit cold?
Yeah,
Yeah, a little
yesterday we
bit.
had uh, uh, something really. We have to put on our jackets and stuff.
Correct. Yeah. A little bit. The weather starts getting cool here, and we just start putting sweaters and jackets. And other parts of the world, this is nothing, right? This is just warm weather.
Yeah, it's just a normal summer for them.
Exactly. All right. So how have you been doing? I mean, just wanted to first of all, I just did a quick introduction in really some 3 lines about your expertise, but most of all, how did you get into software development? I mean, you have 15 years of experience. I mean, 15 years ago things were kind of different. How did you get involved into software and all these things?
Well, since I was a kid, I always liked working with computers, and the first thing that I can remember is when my brother we had a 3H 3x6 computer that has QBasic installed, and we had some games like the Gorilla Bass, and he figured out that there were some codes for the colors of the buildings in the game, and the game was basically two monkeys that throw each other a banana, and
Oh
they
yeah,
try to kill each other
yes,
with
that's
exploring bananas. So
yeah, that's one of the best games that's ever existed. Those that time back were like, it will be like 25, 30 years ago maybe. I'm feeling old, but it was like
yeah,
the games where computers were monochromatic, right? Like that you had to calculate the all the how to get from point A to point B to hit the other gorilla, right? Kind of.
yeah. Back then, I think those were function-based programming.
Oh, okay.
So they have all these functions, and in one place they were declaring variables for with the colors. Actually, I don't remember if they were 16 colors or 24 colors,
Oh,
but
okay.
those were the first computers that I remember that had this kind of things. And since then, I was amazed. I always wanted to like. Work with that. If I had figured out how to modify a game just to see what it comes out of changing a couple of letters, maybe I can figure out ways to do something more interesting. And uh, yeah, when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life, I dealt between uh, working with electronics, and I had the opportunity to pursue my passion with computers and I studied in CETI. It's Centro de Enseñanza Técnica Industrial here in Guadalajara. So one of the things that I remember also is that the career focus was more on building and designing electronic components. But along the way, I uh, met some people that already work in the IT industry and in the IT department of the school. So those were my first mentors and my first friends that program and work with that. And from there, I try to pick up on their steps they were taking. So I try to learn as much as I can from them. I had to make a choice between the Linux friend and the Microsoft friend, and I choose the latter. So that's how I started working in 2007 in HP. And my first jobs were mostly related with database stuff. I do some reports, SQL Server stuff, and Crystal reports, and some other things that were related to that, to the most with the backend, but more with the data layer of applications. And things were really very different back then. Microsoft had its second version of Visual Studio, but there were some old technologies like Visual Basic 6, which I took a course on. And from there, it was just learning new things, trying to figure out what I like. And I passed from there into learning more of the business logic of applications, trying to learn more on the backend stuff. And more recently, I'm trying to learn a little more about the front end and pursue the goal of one day becoming a full stack engineer. But right now, I think I'm still in the works for that. And most of my background is 14, 15 years working in the backend.
All right, that sounds really familiar. I mean, I have a similar situation here, I guess. Maybe in the years before, it was easier to be a full stack engineer than it is today, or maybe the matter that it exists now, so many different front-end technologies and so many different back-end technologies, and everything is kind of isolated, and everything has its own business going on. It's kind of not so common to be like that kind of full stack, but I don't know. I think you and I know that a software engineer is a software engineer, right? No matter what you do.
Yeah, and sometimes I don't know. We have seen so many technologies seen the light and the end of their lives. Like at one point in my career, I was working with Windows Mobile and some compact edition things. They were like these handheld devices where they had printers inside them, so they were used by the truck drivers to make the delivers and imprint their paychecks to the store clerks. And those things are long gone. Right now we have so many other stuffs like smartphones that weren't invented until I don't know 2 or 3 years after I was working with those mobile devices. Also the web has changed a lot. I always tell the story that when I started working at Oracle, I was so pumped up to learn how to program in Silverlight and those stuff that were like Flash technology, the Macromedia scripts, and those things just died before I left of Oracle. So I have to learn what was the new stuff, and JavaScript has been creating all of these little monsters here and there. You have Angular, you have React, you have Vue, you have whatever. I don't know what even is the new trend right now.
Yeah, I'm same. The only lesson we have to learn is that keep learning, right? Because, it was some time before that programming for mobile back then. It was like programming for PDAs. They called it PDAs, like Palm computers.
Right. Right,
because
exactly.
smartphones started to exist, but they were not like common, or maybe they hadn't started to exist back then. I don't even remember, but I remember that there were like palm computers, and oh, kind of it's gonna be the future, but you never know. Some new technology comes that grabs everything, and now you need to start learning that thing. It's the same thing with Silverlight, right? We thought
Exactly.
that was gonna be kind of the near future for that kind of stuff for developing in web, and but it went nowhere. So at the end, right now at this point, you just need to keep learning. Right now, at this moment, 2021 November, I can say that JavaScript is kind of ruling the web development in general, even backend with Node.
Right.
There are still many languages. There is still Python is uh, having a good trend in backend, and there is it's so diverse. But at the end, we need to keep learning and learning. So yeah, this is rings a lot of bells to me too. Um, we could keep talking about this. I mean, we could be talking for hours about how it used to be, these things in the past in our eras, because we're kind of we belong. I guess we belong to the same generation. I guess
I guess so.
uh, the same generation that we started like 15 years back, or maybe even 20 years back. We started with these things, and now things are kind of different. Uh, but let's just to keep these technical things aside, we're gonna talk. Wanted to talk about some interesting point that has to do with everything. And also, you talked to me before that you wanted to discuss this point and how it has impacted everyone in their careers, and how it impacts us in the software developer industry when you, I don't know, in your companies, or when you do in your work or anywhere. That's more like a psychological thing. It's something that is called the imposter syndrome. I researched a little bit about it. I think obviously I have experienced it, and I believe whoever watches this has experienced it. I
At
don't
some
know.
point.
At some point, I'm pretty sure everyone has experienced it, and whoever says no, he or she is lying. I don't know. Maybe someone hasn't. But how can you tell? First of all, what is the imposter syndrome, or how can you describe it, and what can you tell me about it?
Yeah, well, to talk about the imposter syndrome, we also have to talk about the Donny-Kroger effect, which is the opposite. And that happens when you overestimate your own skills because of lack of knowledge on how deep a certain topic is, or certain technology is. So I would like to share one image that pretty much shows it up, or sums it up for both the cases.
All right. Yeah,
If I may.
let's go ahead and see. I will. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. So you were talking about the lower part of the graph, and I was talking about the high part of the graph, and that what we are plotting on is the confidence that you have on certain topic, and this is like the two axes are in the y-axis we have the confidence of how do you feel about that topic, and how actually do you know about that topic is the x-axis. And in the Dunning-Kruger effect, you are talking mostly about the peak of I know everything, and it's related to attitudes of arrogance, and that you can recognize what you don't know because you're very new to that topic, and that is not usually a problem. It is just a matter of starting to learn a lot more about those things, or having a mentor that can show you where you really are. But things get really, really bad when you get to the belly of despair, because um, you start to overcompensate for your lack of knowledge on something, and try to uh, you get humbled by life, and sometimes you don't feel really that much confident on the things that you're working on, even though that you may have actually some really good knowledge about the whatever the topic it is. And another way to show this is like in this graph, we can have like this is your perception. In the first circles, we can see that your knowledge is a bit less than what everyone else is. But or this is how you see it. Oh, everybody knows more about this than me, and I'm not good enough, and somebody's gonna call on me on hey, this guy is just bluffing, he doesn't know, I don't know why he was hired or something. And the reality is that you were measured like everyone else. You passed the interviews, you have already work and had some experience. You have 5 years of experience working with that technology, and if you were really measured with the others, you will see that more or less probably they have the same knowledge as you have. So this is something that at some point in your career you will feel like it's taking a toll on you, because you feel stress, you start to overwhelm about it, and if you don't talk with others, or you haven't talked with more senior people in your team, you will notice that this is very common. Everybody has felt it at some point, and there are ways to try to work it out, and try to reframe your reality, and not feel overwhelmed by it, because there are other behaviors that are not really healthy. And for example, I've taken a top 5 of the common behaviors that are not healthy. One is overwork and try to be a workaholic, because you feel like you're not delivering as much as your team and what you do is try to overcome that by working more and more. That will in the end tire you off, and won't be as productive as you think. So another thing that it's a common thought is like you think that you are there because of luck, and that is not the case. Mostly you have prepared and taken some time to learn something so that you can be where you are.
Hey man, you need to stop talking about me. I don't know. This brings so first of all, you're saying being a workaholic, well, let's say in other words, to work a little bit more than the usual could be a sign of having the imposter syndrome, right? Could be.
Yes. So yeah, you have to be when you start to notice some of these thoughts coming to your mind often, that hey, I was just lucky, or maybe I talked a little more, I bluffed just to get here, or maybe I'm successful because I have a wonderful team, but I'm the ugly duck there. I don't have the skills that my team has. Or sometimes you have to start realizing that, hey, maybe this isn't the truth. Maybe I have to talk this through and figure out what my fears are or where they are coming from. And sometimes, most of the time, you figure out that there's something you need to work on, but in yourself, not like you're lacking or you are not delivering as much as you think. If you don't have that feedback from a coworker, or if you don't have or your superiors, if your manager doesn't tell you, hey, it can be common, like, hey, you're missing this date, or you're not delivering this as fast as we thought. But if it is a one-time occurrence, it wouldn't be that bad. I mean, it's not a signature that a sign that you are lacking effort.
Yeah, this is. I mean, first of all, this I think this graph is great, man. This is whenever you have any situation going on in your head with the imposter syndrome, just take a look at this. Mostly it will be like the second, obviously, like the second graph, that it looks like a flower and everything positive, right? Normally it will be like this. I mean, we are all. If you are in talking about people working at companies, right, and having coworkers and everything, normally you're there because you're qualified, or you're at least you're qualified enough to be there. So yeah, you might know a little bit more things than some other people. You might know a little less things than some people, and so on. But sometimes our mind plays tricks on us, and sometimes it's hard. It was interesting that if I remember in the previous graph, you said that the top one, the one that
can go back if you like.
Yeah, if you can go back, the one that says, well, it says peak of Mount Stupid. I don't know how do you call the opposite of imposter syndrome?
It's Dunning-Kruger effect.
The Dunning-Kruger effect. But you said that is. No, I don't know how to say less harm. It's not like less harmful, but it's like it's less complicated to resolve, or has or maybe tends to have less issues. I'm not sure, but you're saying that bragging, or a people that just shows off even though he or she doesn't know a thing, it's less. I mean, it's less harmful than the imposter syndrome.
I could say that at least in my experience, on the first years, I saw many people bluffing, like, "Oh, I'm a super expert on this and this technology and blah blah blah," and I look at the age of that person and say, "Hey, you're just 1 year older than me, and you came out of school around 2 years ago. I came around 1 year ago. So how much can you really know more than I do if we were both working in the same technologies and preparing it in the same way?" And at least compared to one person that is like we are right now, 10-year veterans, we cannot compare. We cannot even dream of at that point have lived the same that those people have. But you see these people really fast coming into one reality check when they try to achieve some position that they're not prepared to, or that they are like having a discussion with someone that is better prepared than them. They don't have the knowledge to stay on that conversation, and they will be fast put on track and say, "Hey, you are here almost learning, and just at the beginning of your career. You need to learn more in order to be more in sync with what you know.
Yeah, I agree. But I would think that also the bragger kind of people, in my opinion, kind could have in deep inside could be like insecure as well.
Yeah.
That's in my opinion. I mean, you both. I mean, I would think again, this is just a personal opinion. I'm everything but a psychologist, nothing like that. But I will think it comes from insecureness as well. There, I mean, there's no need to. I mean, because the bragger also in the long term, to keep it in simple words, nobody will like to work with a bragger at the end if that person continues to be that way.
If he keeps doing
Exactly.
the bragging
If
attitude, it won't
if
be.
if, if that
Yeah.
person keeps doing the bragging, I mean, no one he will be there alone, and in the end, everything, all the truth comes after a while, and everything comes. Even people with imposter syndrome, once they get more secure, everything comes. I mean, everything works out if they manage to work it out a way to deal with their insecurities, which is not easy, I guess. What do you, I think that well, in my experience, I experienced maybe a couple of times in certain projects that maybe thought that I was not good enough. I see everyone else working in a certain pace and with certain knowledge, and I felt like, oh, maybe I'm not in that wave there. I'm not there yet. Uh, what do you think? Do you think that the environment impacts? I mean, the environment uh, has to do with I mean, your coworker. I mean, you got to start working obviously with your coworkers, and you think how they behave affects you. I mean, to develop this imposter syndrome, or what do you think?
In my case, I will think it is a combination of the
Mhm.
two. I can remember a very specific time in my life, at my career, when I was getting out of the desktop technologies and trying to learn the web technologies. I've lost a couple of years, or maybe even more, when they started to talk off, and everybody was into developing web APIs, and started working with the cloud, and we had all these technologies that I didn't even know that they were existed, more than what I read a couple of lines in the newspaper, or the headlines on some blog or something. So the one way that I noticed, I was having this, starting to feel like I'm not good enough, is that I was under delivering, and I started to see story points on my peers going high, and I have to go through a really good analysis on, hey, what am I doing to be delivering less than them, and even I have the case when I joined one company with one person that was in the same spot as me. We were both leaving the desktop world, and we started to see this. But I see that in a few than a couple of weeks, he was delivering more stories than I, and I had to realize that I had something to do. So in one point, I could say that what made me realize that I was lacking some knowledge and some stuff that I was not doing were my peers, and the other was figuring out what I was doing wrong, and what I was lacking of, and if I needed training, I needed to start asking for help. And in my case, it had a good turnout of events, because I was noticed that I was getting behind, and but I didn't raise my hand at that time. So um, when I did all this analysis on myself and say, hey, maybe it's because I haven't studied this before. I haven't keep up with all the things that came out at that time. I need to study more. I need some help from someone that has already figured out how these things are built on, and try to put them all together. That's when I said, hey, I need to do this. I need to close or put some a blocker in my computer to not see any YouTube for a couple of weeks at least, until I get to the pace that I was supposed to be. And that helped me get out of the negative train of thought that I was having, that, hey, maybe I'm not good enough. Hey, maybe they're special. I'm not. And maybe I wasn't supposed to be here. I was, I don't know, maybe it was my luck, maybe. And start blaming your current situation into other things, and figure out that you have, or you can do something. What can you do to get out of there, and get to wherever you want, and whatever you want to do ultimately is have the confidence back in yourself and see, hey, maybe I don't know everything, but I'm still learning, and I can ask for help if I don't know.
All right, really interesting thoughts. So what would you, given your experience, what would you advise anyone who's could be starting their career, or could be in the middle, or senior, or whatever? What would you recommend or advise them if they're like experiencing the kind of imposter syndrome or similar?
First of all, is try to recognize if you're having a negative train of thoughts. If it negative ideas come to your mind very often during the day, and try to recognize that. And one thing that you need to do is find some help, and your help comes first from your coworkers or somebody that's close on your team, and they can have another perspective, and put you at least give you some guidance, so that you know that you're not rating yourself down, or maybe too low, or if they see something that you need to change. In my case, I say that this because I had those were feedback that even my wife gave me, and a couple of my coworkers, I look for them and say, hey, I'm feeling this way. I'm feeling that I'm not keeping up. How do you see me, or what do you recommend? And from there, you can try to rationalize what are the steps that you're taking, what are you doing on your day by day, what are your most common blockers. If it's something that you don't know, you need someone to mentor you, or some time to learn something on your own. And if it is something else, you need to find the root cause and try to work on it, because whatever it is, you can, and that is the important thing of this whole thing. You can work on it. You can do something to get out of that train of thought, and start thinking again, gain your confidence and be more positive.
Right. I mean, an exercise of introspection, which it's not easy. Just I would say to everyone in the we're talking about the technology world, the technology area. Everyone who's working there, anywhere, just keep it humble. Let's everyone be humble. I know you're an expert on this. I know another guy is new. I know maybe this guy is senior, but he's not as expert. Everyone, let's keep humble, and let's work together, and let's because no one's perfect. We have all strengths and weakness. Sometimes it's hard to do that kind of introspection. Just be open to, and it's also difficult to be open to feedback. But let's as human beings be kind and humble every time. We will all appreciate that. At the end, we are all working with other human beings. Everyone has feelings. Everyone, and obviously, those things impact the work, and personal life, which is important. I would say, let's keep it simple. Let's be humble, everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
All right, those was really interesting. A really interesting topic, Javier, that you proposed. Uh, I'm not used to be talking about those kind of psychological topics, but it's really interesting, and I will be excited to keep talking about different non-technical topics in these episodes. Really happy to do that. Now, you told me that you have a special or an interesting demo that you want to showcase. This is we're jumping a little bit back on the technical side, and you have something that you wanted to show us, a technical demo that you developed in-house for your house, actually.
Yeah, it is. Well, it is like you said. You need to figure out that you cannot learn everything, but you can start learning everything. So I always try to, from these lessons that I had in the past, and those were really lower points in my career where I felt they had some stress and they left my mark. But I finally came out of. I learned that I have to push myself into being out of my zone of comfort and my area of comfort and try to learn something that I maybe not familiar with, but it would be a great experience at the end. One thing that I started doing was try to put all these automatic lights in my house. So I learned a little about this contacts and stuff. You can see the lights in my bag. That's
I
part
thought
of.
I thought it was because we're getting close to Christmas.
It is, but yeah, and as part of this projects, I learned from a friend. Maybe you're familiar with that, and some spam that comes on your browser and stuff. So they talked to me about a little project you can do with a Raspberry Pi. I initially made it work with a Raspberry Pi 3, but in the end I decided to buy a device that was lower in power consumption because it will be turned on all the time. And I bought this. Maybe I can share again.
Yeah, go on. Let's see.
Yeah,
there you go.
This is the thing that I bought on Amazon. Right now, at the point of this video, these things are really cheap. We can have them in less than 1,000 pesos. And the important thing here on the hardware is this heat dissipators. I don't know what's the word on English, but these things will make you sure that you don't burn your whole device down, because these things produce heat. Once you have the hardware to work on this, you can install a DNS server into them. We start by going into this page, and we have here a basic small set instructions that we can follow into our Pi device so that we can install it. You just run this line into the command line of the Raspberry Pi. These things came with their own version of Linux, so you can plug them into a monitor, and they work like a computer. Once you have this installed, and you have to figure out your network infrastructure. So I would like to show you. Here is what I wanted to show. This is sort of a diagram that will show you how my network was set up before I installed the Raspberry into it. I have the ISP router at the top, and then I have a network switch that distributed by Ethernet cables the internet to the rest of the house. This is a 3-floor house, so I have 3 routers, 3 Wi-Fi routers, and one is working as a repeater, and the other 2 are working on the first floor and the base floor. And this is the ISP router is at the same level as the floor 1 router, but it is not used, or at least the Wi-Fi is not used. So if I wanted to filter all the traffic, and what we wanted to do is, you know that there was an issue with Facebook a couple of months ago, and what happened was when we're working with network, we have all these IP addresses with every computer that is on the network, and that is the way that you can reach and communicate to other pieces of the network itself. It's like a physical address, and it's the way that packs are delivered and communication is done. So what happened with Facebook was there is humans are not very good with numbers, so we have like a dictionary to write some page that we can remember, like Facebook, and they have assigned an IP to that human language page. So that way the computer can go to the DNS server and ask, hey, what's the address, the IP address of Facebook, and it will take you there. And what happened with Facebook was that they had a problem with the DNSs, and it was like an update or something, and it didn't appear anywhere. So people were worried because Facebook was showing down, but the problem was due to these routes that were not displayed anywhere. What we will try to do here is when we are seeing some ads and pages, and we are seeing some bothersome site that is keeping track of whatever we are doing, our location, and some other data that right now they took from us. What we want to do is block that communication, and we had lists of those sites. At least we will not block everything, but we will block locally. We will block most of the traffic that goes to those sites. So what we need to change here is we need to have a router that will concentrate all the traffic through it, and then will block those communications out there when they go to the ISP server. And this is the diagram. I really just changed the way that they were connected here, so you can see right now in the red lines that all my communications are going out to the ISP provider through the router that is on the first floor. And what I'm going to do here is connect the Raspberry to it and give it a fixed IP address so it can serve as a DNS server. And the only thing that I need to do additional to this is set the router to have a primary DNS in this Raspberry device. I can show you how this is working in the end. I can go to my router right now, This is the one in the first floor that I was talking about, and we can see all the devices that are connected to it. We can see that the Raspberry is at the top with the IP address, and the hardest part of this tutorial was figuring out, because this router is not really a top-notch one. It was something that came up with my provider. They gave to me. So what I did was figuring out where do I need to set up the DNS so that I can filter the outcoming traffic. And this is the part. This is the where I found it. And you can see here that I have a primary DNS set up to the IP address.
So that's the magical part, right?
That's
So basically, where you say, okay, the primary DNS is this Raspberry Pi, and that's the one that kind of filters.
Yeah, because every petition that comes to this router, it will try to see if the end IP it's in the dictionary at this address in this DNS server. The Raspberry Pi will look into the list, and if it is in the blacklist, it will block the communication to that. It will just deny the request at that point. And this is something important. You need to have at least one secondary DNS. The most common is this one. This is the one that everyone uses. Another one could be the Google DNS, which is 8888. But you can use whatever you like, whatever you see fit in. So yeah,
right.
Once you have this, everything's ready, and we can start working on the on the list that we want to block, because this is the dashboard. I'm connected. You can see here I'm connecting to the IP address that the Pi has in the server, right? So getting back to, yeah. So I can show you how to set it up. There are several videos on this, but I want to go more in detail on the after work that you need to do to tune it up. Because if you put all these 3 million sites that you are blocking right now, some of them are not really that bad, and you need to start measuring if you really need them or not. And I can show you how I did this, at least for my work. So in this dashboard, you will have a list of the most common clients that made requests to the server that we have, to the router. We can see also what kind of requests they are blocking. Right now, the IP address that I have on this computer is the second one on the list. So I can go here and check out what addresses were being blocked. And for example, I can see here, maybe there was some ads that Amazon was trying to put on me, and they were blocked. If I see something here that is not working, and it happened to me with at least most of the Microsoft sites, because those things also have some ads on them. You can whitelist it with this button, and you need to fine tune how your DNS list is working. So if you have some problems, you go to this page, figure out what is being blocked, and whitelist it. The whole list, you can find the most common reference is this site, firebug.net, and we can see list of suspicious websites, and advertising list. The tracking and telemetry are. I had a problem, for example, with Spotify when I was trying to look for songs and it didn't return me anything. I have to figure out what the problem was, and they track some of the requests that you do to their websites or to their APIs, so they can figure out many things like what songs are trending, what artists are the most searched, and sometimes those are the things that you will need to allow afterwards. So yep, this is all the list that we have in here. And what you do is just copy all of them, just like this, and you go to the group management section, and here you have the ad list. And you just paste them in here. You can see the instructions are very easy to follow, and they say that you can put as many sites as you like, as long as they have a white space between them.
Nice.
You just click add, and you will have them right here. You can see I have many pages, and all of the sites that I found in Firebug are the ones that I added here. So this is how I fine tune it.
How has it worked so far? I mean, you have everything set up on your home, right?
Yes, I started to see some ads being blocked. For example, I read some websites like let me remember one. I usually follow comic and Marvel websites when they talk about movies and stuff, and they had a lot of I remember Firewire, this one. So I don't know, for example, I used to have like 2 or 3 pop-ups in this page, and right now you can see that there seems to be none, at least for now.
Yeah, normally you will have pop-ups or lots of ads between paragraphs, right?
That's right. So
yeah, that's really common. It's kind of annoying.
And another thing that you can see, if this is working, you will see the queries block right here in blue increment their count every time that you do a query. And also you can go back to this part and check the log, and you will see some ads that were blocked by at this time. You can see these were the last 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, there were a lot. So yeah, this is a quick project. It has its own loops that I have to go through. The hardest part for me in this project was working with my router, because it wasn't really very friendly, and the ISP provider sets it up so that you can plug it in and use it, but not fine-tune it really good or really easy. So
yeah, none of the routers that they provide are friendly, right?
Yeah, they usually is like when you brought these cell phones from certain provider, and they come with a lot of apps from from the provider itself.
Correct.
You can block those.
Yeah, this is really interesting. I mean, I find it interesting. I find it really useful. I mean, for my case, I would It's cool that you could block all the telemetry stuff. I mean, for that means, correct me if I'm wrong. For example, it's really the typical scenario. You start searching Amazon. Okay, I want to buy an iPhone. I want to buy iPhone 12. I want to buy an iPhone 11. And then suddenly you go to Facebook or you go to another page and you see tons of ads with iPhone, right?
That's correct. In this way, it will block some of them,
Yeah.
and
At least some of them you won't be so overwhelmed with all that stuff, right?
and by no means I'm an expert on this or network technology. I mean, I studied that way back in school, and but I'm by no means an expert. I'm learning on the way, and I guess this was a good project. It has it is cheap if you want something to start on, and I just wanted to show you because I thought it was cool, and eh, even a dummy like me did it in a couple of weeks. So
No, it's really cool. I mean, I'm thinking about implementing it myself or buying one from you. Maybe it's really useful.
I'll be
Really,
glad
really
to
cool.
help you out setting it up.
Yeah, yeah.
And you were talking about the telemetry.
Uh-huh.
Microsoft has a lot of telemetry on Teams and when you're using Outlook or Office, the Office suite. So here in the whitelist, you can add. Well, you saw that you have a couple of ways of doing it. One was looking at the log and whitelist it with the button, but the other one is to add like a part of the domain or a wildcard, and you need to click this checkbox before adding it. But you can see here that I have at least all of the Microsoft websites added to the whitelist because I was having problems when I was trying to make an update on Visual Studio last week, and a couple of weeks ago, I was having problems with my Outlook updating. So this is the way that you can trust some domains and fine tune it to not block everything that is on those lists. Sometimes you actually do want to work with them, so that's the way you can whitelist them.
All right, really cool. I repeat, I think I can make use of something like this at home as well. It's really cool, Javier. Really interesting topic. Well, just to wrap it up, I think it was a really interesting session. This one, we'll talk about imposter syndrome and this getting into psychological things, and then this demo is kind of different as well. So I think this was really cool. I wanted to appreciate your time and effort, Javier. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for the opportunity to share.
No, this is your home, and you can also block some ads here. Anytime you want to be here, you're always welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I think that's it for this episode. Anyone else? Anyone who is there? Thanks so much for watching. We will, in case someone wants to contact Javier, we will leave the details if you want, or maybe your LinkedIn profile or something. We will leave those details in the video.
Sure.
Again, Javier, thank you. And anyone who's watching there and has nothing better to do, thank you.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. See you next one.